Sometimes too much of anything can be a bad thing, which leads me to today's topic. We're going to talk about how to stay on track and not get clouded by all of these available resources during your IT journey. So stay tuned and don't forget to click like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. Welcome to Debt Free in IT. My name is Mike. This podcast is for anyone who's looking for a career change or looking to get into the IT field. You've come to the right place. With the advancement of technology, we have more than enough resources to learn anything in the tech industry, whether it be networking, cybersecurity, cloud, to coding. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to find some very cheap to very expensive resources to learn any of these technologies. So back in 2006, when I was first learning networking to get into the tech industry, there wasn't a whole bunch of resources available. So everything was more straightforward back then because if you had to learn the fundamentals first. So if you wanted to learn networking, you usually ended up in the networking academy. If you wanted to learn network plus route or the security plus route, you usually went down the CompTIA path. And then there wasn't many options just to get you off track. In a way, I think that was better because I was forced to learn the fundamentals before trying to advance on to more harder and different technologies to learn. So today, it's so many technologies that it make it hard for a beginner to figure out which way to go. So you may find yourself wanting to learn cybersecurity, then you start going down the security plus path, and then one day you open your browser, you see an ad for this pen testing course that it maybe shows how much you will make once you complete that course, and the course may be free or it may be very cheap. So you decide to jump into pen testing. So you stop doing your security plus studies and start doing pen testing. Then while you're doing pen testing, you see a cloud course that looks interesting to you, and then you start hearing about how much cloud employees make and cloud engineers make. So you decide to stop doing your pen testing and you're ready to go for some cloud experience now. So while hopping from course to course, you start to see things mentioned that goes back to the fundamentals of what you're trying to study. So you start seeing things like IP addresses, understanding the TCP/IP protocol stack. You started seeing things like a network address or a network host address. You may not know the difference, but these advanced courses, they're going to assume that you already know the fundamentals. So with that being said, a beginner, if they start seeing things like that and they done been hopping around a couple of courses, that may discourage someone. So that may make you think that, oh, this is too hard, I'm just going to give up. So after thinking that this is too hard and you're going to give up, that circle would just keep going on and going on. Then one day you look, a year done passed by, and you're still on step 1. Today, I'm here to help you stay on track with your IT journey by giving you some tips on how to stay focused and not end up going down that rabbit hole where you're going through different paths every week and then you're on to a different course. So my first tip is going to be decide on a path. So this is where you need to understand what you may like in IT, what draws your interest, and then you need to decide on a path that focus on that interest. So if cybersecurity is truly what you see yourself doing, then you want to start with the fundamentals of cybersecurity, maybe a security plus, or even maybe a intro to computers class, or maybe an IT essentials, and then go to that security plus. You want to start with those basic fundamentals, learn the basics. So my tip number 1 is decide on a path. My second tip is to choose your resources. So if you're enrolled in school, this is nothing to worry about because usually when you sign up for your program, the classes are usually outlined going from easiest to hardest, depending on the school, to where each class builds on the other class so you don't feel like you're overwhelmed at any point. But if you're not going to school, then I would say choose your resources. So you want to choose a couple resources and you want to find resources that makes it understandable to you. So with all the resources that's available, if you search on YouTube, you're going to find different people explaining the same thing. The thing is to find that one person, or if you're buying a course, find that one instructor that makes it understandable to you. Because for the most part, we're all going to be telling you the same thing. It's just who can make it simplified for you. Some resources I would choose would be one video course, one book, preferably one that aligns to a certification, if that's the path that I'm going down, and then one lab source to get that hands-on experience. So one thing that I wouldn't do is fall for the hype. So don't pay for any expensive resources that's going to promise to make you six figures in a short amount of time. Most of the times, that's just not the case. Remember that just because something is expensive doesn't mean that it's good. I fell in the trap before, paid for something expensive because you keep seeing the ads for it and you get hyped up and you get it. And then once you get it, it'd be the same thing you could have found for free on YouTube. So don't fall into the hype. Now, if you're finding value in this episode, please leave me a comment. If you have any friend that's trying to get in IT, please share this episode with them. And also, if you're on Apple or Spotify, please leave me a review. And also, if you're on YouTube, please leave me a comment. And if you have any questions, please get those questions to me. I'm working on an episode coming up in the future where I'm just answering your questions. I'm doing a Q&A episode. So please get your questions to me. My third tip will be learn the basics and the fundamentals before moving on to a harder subject or technology. So now that you have your path and resources, now it's time to put in the work. You want to use the resources you have and learn whatever your chosen path or your goal is. Hopefully it aligns with a certification. If it aligns with a certification, I wouldn't move on until I got that certification. If it doesn't align with a certification, then as soon as I feel confident in that technology, maybe if it's an IT essentials class and I feel like, okay, I learned a lot in this class, I'm pretty comfortable, then I would move on to the next path or the harder technology. Trust me, if you learn the basics of networking, in which every technology uses some form of networking is everywhere. Once you learn those basics and then you start moving on to other technologies, it's going to make it that much easier for you to grasp those newer technologies. So this brings me to my fourth tip, which is trust the process. So now that you've learned the fundamentals, now you can start to add on to those fundamentals by studying more complex technologies. Trust me, this ain't the most sexiest way that's going to get you in tech tomorrow, but over time, this is going to help them have you more prepared for when your time comes. And that brings me to the